How's it going, everybody? Chadley here, and today we have the update to our White Death flak build. Now, this is a build centered around flak and 3-shot fadeaway, and then using a shotgun to cycle fadeaway, and then a sniper to deal a bunch of damage for us. And with kind of the new buffs and new weapons we have, this build is seriously better than ever, so I'm super excited to be updating it here. So we're going to start off here with our weapons. Now, like all the other build videos, if you guys need help getting these weapons, make sure you guys are in our Discord. There's a huge trading section. Definitely hit that up if you guys need some help getting these weapons. But starting off, like I said, we are going to be focusing on a shotgun. And shotguns with a lot of pellets are going to be the best for cycling fadeaway and just in turn damage. So obviously we are going to have to be using a stagecoach. The more pellets, the better. It goes up to 25. I really like consecutive hits. You can get 100 ASE or 100 next to mags. Any of those will do. Now, I know a stagecoach is really hard to get your hands on, so if you guys cannot get your hands on a stagecoach, the new purple Dakota from the Bounty of Blood DLC is really good. You get this out of the final chest in the DLC, but you can do a little trick with the photo mode and farm it just non-stop. So there's definitely videos out there if you guys need to know how to do that. Definitely look that up. This is another really good weapon. This one, I like to have 100 ASE or consecutive hits on it. The only issue I have with the Dakota is that it's 7 pellets. So while it does do a good amount of damage, it just takes a while to cycle fadeaways because it's not that many pellets. But the second backup I would have for the stagecoach would be the reflux. I know it's not quite as fun as like a Jacobs shotgun, but obviously you guys know the reflux is super good for cycling action skills on flak. With head count, it's seriously nuts. So if you guys don't have a stagecoach, I would resort to the reflux next and then the Dakota. And if you guys don't want to use those, the Robin's Call is another decent option. This is a legendary shotgun from the new Bounty of Blood DLC. And my only issue with this thing is it shoots so darn slow. It shoots in like a quick burst of 2, and then there's a gap, and then shoots in a burst of 2 again. And it's really nice because if you hit a crit, it returns ammo to your magazine, and as flak, you're always going to be hitting a crit with a lot of pellets. But that super slow fire rate with the gap between the 2 bursts is really tough. So if you don't kill him in that 2 burst, it's going to take a lot longer to kill him than, say, a reflux or a Dakota or the stagecoach. But any of those will definitely do if you guys don't have a stagecoach. And then moving down, we're going to be looking at the complex route for the sniper. In my opinion, this is the best sniper in the game right now. It just does absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage. So if you guys don't have the DLC or don't want to use the route, the Wedding Invitation is also another really good option if you guys can get your hands on that. Otherwise, I don't have it in here. The Unseen Threat is probably my next best bet. That is going to deal a ton of single target damage. The only issue is you can't really use it on mobs too well because the little homing projectiles that come out after a crit just don't really seem to want to target some of these smaller enemies very well. But I would use one of those 3 snipers if you have them. And then moving down, we're going to be looking at the light show. This thing just does a bunch of damage straight up, but also it is a multi-projectile weapon. So you guys can cycle fadeaway pretty darn quick with this weapon because it has a fast fire rate, and we also get ×4 on our pellets. It's really nice to have. I highly recommend this. If you guys don't want to use this, use like a beacon. The bloom's pretty good. If you guys want to use a herald, you can. The health shock is really good with this build, or a monarch. Any of those will do the trick there. And then finally, for our 4th slot, we need some help with just like huge mobbing sections like true takedown on the Malawan takedown bridge part. That part I highly recommend getting a plague bearer. This also helps a ton in the guardian takedown if you guys choose to do this. So I definitely recommend getting your hands on a plague bearer. You could get a splash one, but I actually kind of had the best success with a next to mags version because this one is going to last into your next fadeaway as well. You don't have to like switch to the stagecoach to cycle back into fadeaway super fast. You can just keep this out if there's no enemies like rushing you, and then you guys can easily wipe out the entire bridge or whatever mobbing section you're at. If you guys aren't really doing any big mobbing sections, definitely just switch this off for a gun of your choice. Any of the ones I've mentioned previously you can use. If you want to just one hit everything, use an ion cannon. Any of those will seriously do the trick. And then let's go ahead and move down to our shield. I personally really like the Transformer. It's just the best in survivability on Flak in my opinion. There's so many things that do shock damage, and getting the heals from that and also the absorb chance is super huge. Also, I like to run Pool Party a lot with Flak just because it gets a ton of survivability when using the Transformer and you stand on those shock pools. But if you guys aren't running Pool Party and you don't want to use a Transformer, a one-shotter works very well with this build if you guys can get your hands on one. Otherwise, the Old God is probably my next best bet, and this thing will just help you do a lot of extra damage. And then for our grenade, like always on Flak, we're going to be basically using the Mitosis Hunter Seeker, but any Hunter Seeker will do. This is just going to allow us to spam it. One, get ammo back if we were doing launchers, because you're going to get Leave No Trace to proc off of them, but also this is going to give you head count procs, and then in turn get you fadeaway back quicker. So I highly recommend spamming these once you're cycling in and out of fadeaway. And then for our class mod, for general play, I do really like the Cosmic Stalker. And then for bossing, I will use a Bounty Hunter. Otherwise, you guys can use a Stack Bot with this. Just the pet attacks will still reset Stack Bot, so that part kind of sucks, even though they work with damage over time. The pet will reset it, so I don't really use this too much unless I'm doing like super specific scenarios with like one-shotting on the Ion Cannon, something like that. And then obviously we're going to be using the Pearl for the best damage that we can. If you guys don't have the Pearl, I definitely recommend trading for it, but if really you don't have this thing and you don't want to trade for it, just use like a Snowdrift Victory Rush or a Snowdrift Auto Idol. Any of those will do the trick. So now that we have looked through all of our gear, let's go ahead and move on to our skill tree. We're going to be starting here in the red skill tree. So we're going to be using 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker, just a really good damage skill and gives you a lot of bonuses. 3 points into Leave No Trace for that ammo return, so you don't have to reload the Stagecoach as much. Then we're going to do 5 points into Second Intention, because sometimes you will just have to reload the Stagecoach in case you miss, and having that reload is really nice. Also, when you're using the Plague Bearer, the reload is really nice there. And then obviously we're going to be using 3 points into Head Count to cycle away fadeaways the quickest, 5 points into Hunter's Eye for all the different bonuses. And then we're going to skip Two Fang because 2 of our weapons are multi-projectiles, and this thing has very diminishing returns with those, so we're going to skip that. And then 3 points into Big Game, 3 points into Most Dangerous Game, 1 point into Galactic Shadow for that crit damage and also less likely to be attacked. And then finally Megavore, because obviously it's Megavore. And then on our blue tree, we are going to do 3 points into Persistence Hunter. 1, it gives us a little bit of extra gun damage, and 2, that action skill duration, even with 3-shot fadeaway. A lot of the times you won't actually be making it to the end of the 3-shot fadeaway, but if you're low on health, I highly recommend just sitting in fadeaway for a couple extra seconds running around so you get the max health regen that you can, and this extra duration really helps with that. And also if you need to set up on a certain kill with a boss that has like a weird crit spot on their back or something, this is super helpful. And then in our green tree, we're going to be using 5 points into Furious Attack, 5 points into Overclocked, 2 points into Eager to Impress to help quicken that cycle, 1 point into All My BFFs to help our pet out a little bit, 1 point into Lick the Wound so our pet can revive us, 3 points into Turn Tail and Run for that gun damage while we're standing still, and also that health regen while we're moving, 3 points into the Fast and Furious for that gun damage while we're above half health, and also that movement speed is definitely welcome, 5 points into Hidden Machine for a little bit of extra damage. If you guys find that you don't want any extra damage, but you want a little bit more survivability, take the 5 points out of Hidden Machine and move them into Self-Repairing System, and that'll help you guys out a lot. Right now, Rage and Recover is bugged, so I definitely don't recommend putting any points in here. It does less health regen than it even says, and regardless, it's really not that great of a health regen skill because it is missing health and not just of max health. And then 1 point into Power Inside for that bonus damage, so definitely try to activate your action skill once you're at full health if possible, and you'll get double the bonus here on Power Inside. And then like I said, we're going to be using Fadeaway, and then I like to use Not My Circus just to draw a little bit of fire off of us, and then also Unblinking Eye. If you guys don't want Not My Circus, do Until You Are Dead, and this is actually pretty damn nice for health regen and movement speed, so this is definitely a really good second augment. And then for our pet, we're going to be using the Spider Ant Scorcher. It's going to give us the best damage possible out of the pets that we have available for this skill tree. And then also a little bit of extra health regen is always nice. Now with our modifiers, with Flak, I basically only pick Speed Demon. You guys can pick something else if you really want to, but I highly recommend Speed Demon. Lots of extra survivability, and also it's just nice to get places quicker. Medium, basically always pick Healy Avenger. It's really nice to have those health and shield boosters on the ground because it's super easy to kill those little hearts that are floating around. And then since I use a Transformer, I like to have Pool Party because I can stand in those shock pools. Otherwise, the healing drones got reintroduced to the game today with a hotfix. So if you guys want to use that one, it is actually really nice. One, it's something else to shoot at and ricochet your stagecoach pellets off of. And also, you really don't notice the health regen it gives to the enemies. It's seriously super negligible. So that's another really good hard modifier to be using. But I would try to stick with one of those two. And then for a very hard, either do Postmortem or Buddy System. I've always been on the fence between the two, and I've actually been liking Postmortem lately. I haven't found it to be too much of an inconvenience, while Buddy System, it felt like during the Plague Bearer spams, a lot of enemies were being left alive because the Plague Bearer shots were kind of missing the Buddy System a little bit. So I kind of prefer Postmortem right now. And then finally, let's go ahead and look at our head and skin combo because you guys always have questions about that. Like our Flak Nukem video, I'm still using the Anubust head. This is from the PAX codes or Stream Team giveaway codes, and that's really the only way you can get it right now. It's going to be free eventually, we just don't really know when. And then for our skin, I'm using Ectoplasmic, and then for the colors on it, I'm using white as the primary, and then a light red and dark red combo for the secondary and tertiary, and it kind of just gives us like that cool bloodied effect on top. And I think it looks really, really cool. But yeah, guys, that's overall this build. As long as you have a shotgun that can kind of cycle your fadeaway in and out very fast, there's a ton of different weapons you can use because you will get those bonus elements going and you can just shred people because red and green treat flak does a ton of damage. So if you guys enjoyed this build video, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up on it to let me know if you guys want to see more Borderlands content like flak builds. I have a ton of in mind right now, so definitely stay tuned for those. And we're also approaching 30,000 subscribers here. We're about 500 away, right around there. So if you guys want to help me out and hit 30,000, definitely hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys over on Twitch. We stream every single night at 7 p.m. Central Time. But have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.